Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Northeast Kingdom Learning Services has been around since the 1960s. Today's guest is the woman who heads it up, Michelle Tarek. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Scott. Happy to be here.
Right. Have you been with NEKS since 1960s?
No, I have not. I actually started out at Northeast Kingdom Learning Services about 15 years ago.
Well, that's a long time.
It is, but I've had the pleasure of actually experiencing a lot of different programs in my history there.
Right.
So I've had a chance to really understand a lot of the work we do.
Right. So let's back up a little bit. What is NEKS, Northeast Kingdom Learning Services?
We're a nonprofit, and we provide educational services. We do everything from children's integrated services, serving the 0 to 3 population for developmental delays and family support work. We also do migrant education, and we do K through 12 tutoring, tutorial services, and we also have, of course, all of the high school credentialing opportunities, GED, high school completion, adult diploma program, and dropout recovery.
You know, is your program the same thing as what I used to know as ABE, Adult Basic Education?
Yes, it's evolved over the years. Right. It's now called Adult Education and Literacy, and it really has a lot more opportunities. Back then it was pretty much the GED, that was the path, that was the opportunity. But the state of Vermont has been really proactive in affording a multiple pathways approach for students to receive a high school credential.
Has your program been good about getting the message out? Because like when I think of your program, I go way back to my high school years, which is about almost 30 years ago, and I'm probably still stuck in that mode that your main purpose is to help people get a adult diploma because they've dropped out of school. But I assume you do a lot more than that.
We do, and this is where I don't think we've done a great job over the years of really getting the word out there about all the opportunities we have. So we are much more than just getting a high school diploma. One of the great things we have is relationship with local schools to do a tutorial program where we work with students to really help them so that they don't drop out. But Vermont has the high school completion program, which is also for students that are still enrolled in high school before they drop out, that we're able to partner with the high school, develop an individual education plan with the student's parent, the high school, and Northeast Kingdom Learning Services to help them create a high school completion plan that will allow them to graduate with a diploma from their high school, but also be able to transition into wherever they want to go. If they're looking on a college path, if they're looking to go to technical training, or if they're looking to go into directly into the workforce. So there's a lot of soft skills. We also do work with some businesses where we will go in and do assessments of their existing workforce. And sometimes we're able to provide some brush-up skills in maybe math or reading, and then help bridge them to programs within Linden State College, the Center for Rural Studies, the Incubator Without Walls. And so there's a lot of really great energy and work around some partnerships and collaborations to just really offer a full array of services to communities.
So you work with some people who may have lost their jobs because of, or might be struggling with their jobs because of the change of technology too, probably. Like, for example, is when I started out in the work world, before I went to college, I worked at Columbia Forest Products, and back then, you know, you didn't need to know computers or anything. It was all back-breaking labor. But even working in a mill now, you need to know at least a certain amount of computers. Are you working with a lot of older people who are trying to catch up with these new times?
We do. We have basic computer classes, and we found that we're reaching a more mature audience for a variety of reasons coming in to get basic computer skills. But I think where we're finding more of a need, and we're actually working on right now, is a company where their technology has changed internally, and workers that have been there for a long time are needing to brush up on their math and to be able to really transition into the changes in technology. They need to understand math to a whole new level. Right. To be able to enter into the system. So it's not only learning computers and being able to enter into computers, but also being able to really brush up on their math skills.
So it would seem like it would be a great idea for your group to team up with the Career Center at North Country High School. Has that been done?
Yes, we're actually, this year we started a contractual arrangement with them where we have Carla Watson, who works for Northeast Kingdom Learning Services, works in the Career Center with the Adult Education Services Department. And so our goal is to help increase their student numbers, but also to help do some strategic planning in how we really work together and offer opportunities for our students to take advantage of some of the career technology paths and opportunities there, but also being able to really just pull things together, give more opportunities, and seamless.
So schools are paid for through federal and state funds, you know, taxes, etc. Do you also derive your income or your organization from taxes?
Well, we receive grants from the state of Vermont. There are a small amount of federal dollars that come in to support the adult basic education, adult education and literacy, and there are state grants that do that as well. The local dollars really would come through the supervisory unions when we do a tutorial arrangement with them. There's been some recent press about untapped resources, that there are federal dollars out there to for free tutoring services for students who are on free and reduced lunch. And that's really, it's kind of a little misleading, because while there are funds out there, they're for schools that have been identified on as far as needing improvement. So I encourage parents who have questions or concerns about that to talk to their guidance counselors and see if there are funds available there.
Right. Now let's go back to the history of the school a little bit, because beforehand we were talking, you don't really know when NEKS was founded.
We don't. We have tons of scrapbooks and newspaper articles and photographs, and some of them aren't really dated, but it's amazing the stories that we're coming across and reading. So we believe it's someplace in the mid to late 60s, but we'd really like to be able to explore more of the history. There are people around who worked for NEKS years ago who I think could really share some insight and shed some light on the history.
So if somebody has any idea when it was founded, how can they contact you?
They can call my office, and that number's 334-6532. They can visit our website. They can email us.
Drop by?
Drop by, stop into any center, share a story, share a memory.
And where are you located in Newport?
We're on Main Street in Newport is our learning center. Our administrative offices are up on Seymour Lane. Right. And we have learning centers in Canaan, Hardwick, St. Johnsbury, and Island Pond.
Right. Now, what is this big picture you have in front of you, if you want to show the
audience?
The viewers? Now, who are these people?
This is the adult basic education staff from 1988. And Jan Bartholomew, Pearl St. Peters, Jeannie Comtoy, Eva Warner, Polly Bisson, Gail Philibon, Darlene Martin, Jean Dickinson, Richard Barnes, Chuck Poston, Barbara Judd, Sandra Norris, Lucille Minier, Jane Pearl, Joan Collins, Eileen DeRocha, Lola Carpenter, Paul Sedelnek, Laura Rivers, Pat Marsh, Carolyn Gilman, Andy Cabana, and Carol Collins.
So I recognize some of those.
There's quite a few in here
that are still around. No, yeah. Eva Warner, she's the one who founded it, correct?
Yes, she did.
What was her philosophy?
I believe that there are people who worked for her that probably could really share what her philosophy was, what drove her, what was her passion. I see what's in the articles. I see, little tidbits about her work around ESL, around civics, literacy, but it'd be interesting to hear from people who actually worked with her.
Have you had anybody come to you over the years who have told you that your organization has made a difference in their life? You know, whether it was while you worked there or before?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We've had parents say that if it wasn't for NEKS, they don't think their child would be where they are today. That it was the only way their child completed high school.
And they went on to do good things, or at least to be productive members.
Yes.
Do you have a specific example of somebody who, you know, without saying their name, of maybe somebody who maybe wouldn't have succeeded if it wasn't for you folks?
Oh my gosh. A specific example. A young couple, young girl ended up getting pregnant in high school, and they both went through our program to get their diploma, and to really show them that they were smart, they had the skills to be able to move forward, and they left the area, but they are doing well. They have been able to find jobs, they have been able to continue on and become productive members of their society.
Do some people go on to go to college?
Absolutely. We have a couple students who, right off the top of my head, because now I'm really thinking of them, is we have a young woman who graduated through our adult diploma program and is attending a college out west. We have a young man who completed our high school completion program and is going into the military, and also is enrolled in VTC under the military's guidance.
Now, when you graduate from North Country High School or Lake Region, there's all the pomp and circumstances that that a lot of people don't want to miss. Do you miss that if you go to your school, or do you have all of that?
We have that. We have graduations every year. We have caps and gowns, pomp and circumstance, speakers. We have opportunities for the students to share their experiences and to have their pictures taken with their moms and their dads and their grandparents and sometimes their children. And it's really a celebration.
How many people graduate each year from it?
Last year we graduated 144 students.
Is that like a typical graduating class?
The year before we graduated 125. So we're gaining every year.
And that's just from the Northeast Kingdom?
Northeast Kingdom, from our 5 learning centers.
Now, that's a lot of students, because if, you know, I would have thought that maybe you would have said like 25 or 30 at the tops.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's we have a really great success rate, which is really good, because every one of those students that receives their diploma or their GED goes on to do something. They do a transition plan and they go on and they succeed in whatever their next steps are. And we're always there for them to come back to if they transition to college and they find themselves struggling a little bit. They know they can give us a call and they can come back into a learning center and that we can give them some help.
How many people have graduated from NEKS over the years, or do you have a clue?
I don't have a clue, but I am sure we've probably got to be close to 1,000.
What's the oldest person that graduated?
I want to say 76, 78 maybe.
If with an older student, like in their 60s or 70s, some of them might not even plan on going back to work, but what is their reasoning for getting a diploma?
Some of it is just it's personal satisfaction. It's kind of like on that bucket list of things that I never completed and I really want to complete now. And sometimes it's because they want to show perhaps their child, their grandchild, or their great-grandchild how important education is, that it's so important that even at their age, they're going back and they're finishing.
Right. Now, did you go through traditional education yourself?
I did. I graduated from a vocational agricultural high school in Connecticut. And then, but I never went on to college after that for a very long time. So I then went to college, started college when I was 30. and was on a very long path. I'm still a student. I have an associate's degree. I'm a Springfield College student right now working on my bachelor's, and I'll be working on my master's, so I am a lifelong learner.
So in other words, even though you went to more of traditional high school, you know what it's kind of like to be a non-traditional student in another way.
Absolutely. I understand the struggles when you're having to juggle, and sometimes a lot of our younger students are juggling. They're juggling family life. Sometimes they're young parents and they're having to juggle that. It's not easy, but as long as you understand that whatever path you take is the path for you at the right time, and at whatever speed, you can do it.
You know, a lot of these people, when they graduate, they have that piece of paper, but for some of them, it must be a real morale booster too, because probably some of them feel like they've been flat out and just didn't think they could ever pick themselves up.
Or if they've been told in the past that you can't do this, you're not smart enough, for whatever reason. It's empowering to them.
Right.
And then they do start understanding that, maybe there's different strategies I need in order to get that same outcome. Just because I have to take a different path doesn't mean I'm not smart.
And sometimes I find that, when you're in like I look back to when I was in high school, my kids once found my report cards, and I did try to tell them that, no, those C's and D's really didn't mean the same thing back then. But they didn't buy it. But on the other hand, like you, I took off a few years between high school and college. I took off like 3 or 4 years. I did things that I ended up realizing I didn't want to do, which was a part of the learning experience. I had 2 children at the time, and then I went back to college I got my 4-year degree. I think in 4.5 years I juggled work, and I think I appreciate it a lot more. But if I had to go back to high school, I would do things totally different. But some of us are just slow learners.
Absolutely. I have encouraged all of my children to go to school when you're young. It presents a whole different set of challenges when you're older, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it.
And I think, I agree with you, because all my kids, I've put 2 through college already, and the last one is a senior in college with 2 more years to go, because she's going to be a guidance counselor. I've encouraged them all to go, get it over with. But on the other hand if a viewer's watching us right now, an adult, and they're thinking about going back to school, it's worth every minute of it, because I look back and I think if I hadn't gone, look, I have my degree in psychology, but I write for a living, and you might think, well, but you're not using your education. Yeah, you are, because when I went to school, I was weak in writing, so I had to take so many darn English classes, they turned me into a writer. So that's what because college is far more than just about the subject matter.
Yeah, and if somebody is, if there's somebody who's thinking about, maybe I'd kind of like to go back to college, but I'm not really sure, that they could come into us and we could help do an assessment and kind of give them maybe, a sense of, yeah, you're ready for college and go for it. Or maybe there's some skills to brush up on to get ready. So we can do that. So I would encourage anyone to give us a call, stop in.
Is there a fee for your services?
No, our services are free within the adult educational literacy. The diplomas, the high school completion, GED tests cost, they're $17 per test for the paper test. But all the other services are free. Our tutorial services do cost money. It's a fee for service, but 9 times out of 10, it's able to be paid for through the school systems.
And you also said that you also accept donations from people.
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who's interested in helping out a student, $17 will pay for a GED test. There are 5 tests for a student to take. Even just a little bit like that can really make a difference for a student.
Right. Are you going to be working with, say, like the biotech company that it plans to move to Newport. One of their concerns, and the concerns of other companies that are thinking about coming here, is they need workers who are up to speed, say on computers and other technology. Are you going to be working with, say, that company or other companies as they come in?
I sit on a committee, a work group actually, that has the Career Center, CCV, Linden State College, NEKS, and we meet monthly and we talk about the programs that we have, the ways we can help companies coming in. So it's something that we're always talking about, and we're always prepared to help in any way we can.
Right. Now, what about, I know one of the problems at J-Peak, well, that's occurring because of J-Peak, you have to have trained people to, you know, wait on tables or just have certain kind of skills. Is that you folks, or is that the Career Center that's working on?
I think it's something that we're both working on, and in our relationship as, you know, the partnership we have right now, the contractual relationship, I think it's something we're really going to strengthen and improve. Right. So it's something that we both have the abilities to
Right.
work on.
Now, I understand you were recently honored for your work.
I was. Vermont Works for Women is an organization that is really passionate about women working in non-traditional roles, and also about women who are just passionate about their work. Their work is a labor of love. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary, and what they decided to do as a celebration was to invite nominations to identify, at the time they were looking at 25 women throughout the state of Vermont that are really passionate about their work and really love their work. I was nominated for this award, and I was totally flattered by that. And there were over 150 women nominated across the state, and I was notified a few months ago that I was one of the 28 women chosen in the state.
One of 20?
One of 28.
28?
Yeah.
And that's out of the entire state?
Of the entire state, 150
So you must be pretty
nominations.
impressed.
I'm very humbled by it. I am in the company of some pretty amazing women who I just
Do you know why you were chosen? Do you know what the reason was that you were put in for that honor?
One of my employees had actually nominated me, and in his nomination letter, he spoke to how passionate he thought I was in the work that I do. The work I do, I am incredibly passionate about. I love this work. I love helping people. I love going to a graduation and seeing the outcome, seeing the change that we've been able to make for some students.
Right. And have you actually received the award yet, or is that coming at a later date?
It's in November. It is going to be at St. Mike's College, is the presentation. It's actually a multimedia presentation. There are photographs and interviews that have happened. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Do you know any of the other people?
Bess O'Brien is one of the people. Barber Murphy, Lucy DeLabriere. I don't know if she actually is one of the
so
the
she's
people
still
awarded.
local too, right?
She's over in Colchester area.
Oh, is she
but
now?
she's still doing the tech work with girls, and she did Tech Savvy Girls here when she was in this area.
Right.
But she was one of the honorees, and so they're pretty amazing women.
Yeah, I think my daughter worked with her when she was a volunteer for Tech Savvy Girls.
Oh.
So we get basically two people from the area, because she's a homegrown girl, if I recall right.
I believe so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the giant DeLabriere family, and so she's probably related to half of Orleans County.
Right.
And you're from Connecticut, you said?
I'm from Connecticut.
So you're not like Lucy then, where you're related to everybody.
No, I'm not. We're the only Terrick family in the entire state of Vermont.
So we only have about 5 more minutes left. What more would you like to say about your group?
I would just encourage people to give us a call, to stop into any one of our centers. If there's something that you wonder if we can do for you, ask. If we can't do it, if we can't help you in that area, I'm sure we partner with somebody who can help you meet your goals. And just, check out our website, like us on Facebook. And if you have stories, if you worked with NEKS or if you had a success or something to share the stories with us. Help us write our story and our history.
And I've noted that you really are reaching out now, because you also came on my radio show. Now you're on the TV, so you're really trying to make people aware of all you have to offer.
Absolutely. I think there are some great opportunities that are coming through the state of Vermont. And I think there are opportunities that the more people that are aware of those and can take advantage of them, the more successful our communities are going to be.
And I think success also means, if somebody has that diploma, they feel successful, a lot of times success will follow. And you might be able to help, if somebody's on public assistance, you might be able to help them off of public assistance and become productive members of society.
Absolutely, and those are the people that end up giving back to society. They're the ones who, down the road, you'll get a check from because somebody helped them out paying for a GED test or something, and so they give back. So it kind of creates a real pay it forward kind of.
I'm convinced that that almost anybody can do what they put their mind to, at least within reason. Because, I look back, I don't know about you, if I look back at myself and think, how did I get here? And I think if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I think you really can succeed if you put your mind to it.
15 years ago, I was a high school graduate milking cows. Yeah. Today, I'm the executive director.
And I'm sure you respect. And I'm sure you totally respect the people who milk cows.
I absolutely. But I'm saying I never expected back then. I thought that was my life, and I loved it. And I could milk cows today and still be happy. But I never expected that I could give so much back to my community. Right. And I feel like that's what I'm doing.
But could you ever imagine stopping learning?
No.
Because that's the one thing, when I was in high school, I couldn't wait for the learning to end, or at least the education to end. But now it's like, of course you want it to continue. My idea, I don't know about you, whether you shoot for retirement. I dread retirement. I have no desire to retire because I have too much fun doing what I do.
I love my work. I love the people I work with. I love the students. Right. So I can't imagine not working.
Right. Do you have do you foresee yourself retiring from NEKS, or do you have big aspirations for other things?
If they'll keep me, I can see myself retiring from there. Right now, I want to make NEKS the best I can, and I want to really help as many people as we can.
Right.
So.
Not knowing the philosophy of Eva Warner totally, I think she'd be pretty impressed with you, because although I didn't know her, I once interviewed a student who was very much of a handful, and I'll tell you who she is off air, because I'm sure she'd love to talk to you if you don't already know her. She had a visual problem. She had a lot of her sight was gone. Other teachers gave up on her because she had a bit of a behavioral problem, and so the other teachers just let her run around and do her thing. And finally, Eva, in the other school system, sat her down and said, "Listen, that isn't going to be. You are going to have expectations," and basically took her by the ear and said, "You can learn." And she's a very well-known person here now, very vocal about her love of Eva Warner. I believe she has a bachelor's or master's degree, and she will tell you that she would not have been anywhere if it hadn't been for Eva Warner.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
That's amazing.
so
I would hope she would be proud of the organization today
Right.
and where we are and where we're headed.
Right.
So,
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
thank you for having me.
And thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.